Once again, I welcome you to my program. Today, we shall discuss about permissions and offers. I have completed auxiliary verbs, especially for the 10th class students, what we have to use for permissions and offers. Can and could is used to take permission or to do something. But here is a twist. Could is more polite than can. If you want to give extra pressure on the person to whom you are asking to be positive, then you have to use could. I repeat once again, could is more polite, and if you want to take the permission or offer if you want to get a positive result, it is very important that you must use could. You see these examples, please. Here you see can or could. I take another biscuit. If I use can I take another biscuit, here you are showing the ability, no power. Whereas if I say could I take another biscuit, there is a politeness there. I have used some words can and could, some sentences. You go through that. Okay. First example, please. You can go now. And here another one. You can take books from the library. Third example. Can I sit down? Another one. Can I have some more bread, please? Can I have some more bread, please? Because we have added a please here, the politeness will be there. But it will be better if we add could. If I say could I have some more bread, please, it will be more polite, and the person who is listening, there will be little scope that he will say a negative answer. I have used could in some sentences, please. Could I go home now? It looks more polite. Another example, could I borrow your book for a day? Could I borrow your book for a day? If you observe these sentences, could is more polite than can and may. Right. Another example. We have to use couldn't where there is likely to get a negative answer or the permission has been denied before. I repeat once again, we use couldn't where we expect a negative answer or likely a negative answer or the permission has been denied before. You see this example. Can't or couldn't, we can use both. We can't or couldn't, we can use both. We stay just a little bit longer, please. Already permission refused, again they are asking. Another example, to give or to refuse permission, can or can't is used. I repeat once again, to give and to refuse permission, we can use can or can't. For example, you see here, okay, you can stay in the spare room, permission given. No, you can't have another chocolate, permission denied. I repeat once again, can and can't can be used to give or refuse permission. Right? Can and can't is used to give permission or to refuse permission. Here you see this example. I am sorry, no, you can't borrow the car tonight. Here I have used can't. You must not use couldn't. So you must use can't rather than couldn't to give or to refuse permission. Note, can and may in formal English, it is used to ask and refuse permission, whereas might is used. Might is used to ask permission. I repeat once again, in formal English, can and may is used to give or refuse permission, whereas might is used to ask permission. Right. Can is used for the present as well as for the future, whereas could is used for the past. Once again, I repeat, can is used for the present as well as for the future, whereas could is used for the past. Especially to report permission in the past, we use could. Okay, here you see this example. We shall go through these examples. Okay, Rahul says that we can borrow his house as long as we leave it clean and tidy. To report, he said we could use the car to report permission in the past. Another important point to note, when there is a general permission in the past, or to report permission, general permission in the past, we can use could or was or were allowed to, was or were allowed to. I am repeating once again. To report the permission in the past, that is a general action, we can use could or was or were allowed to. But when you are referring to the particular action or permission in the past, then you have to use was or were allowed to, and you must not use could. For particular action. For general action, you can use both, to report or the permission, general permission in the past. Okay, you see here. You see this example. Last century, women were not allowed to vote. It's a general. You see another one. Although he didn't have a ticket, Rahul was allowed to come in. Here there is a particular permission, that too in the past. So when it is a general, we must use could or was or were allowed to. Here we can use could also. Here could we can use, whereas if it is a particular action, we must use only was or were allowed to. Here you can use could. Right now, I told you to report permissions in the past, whether general or particular. If it is a general, we can use could or was or were allowed to. Whereas if it is particular, we can use was or were allowed to. We must not use could. If you want to report a permission was refused, we can use both couldn't or wasn't or weren't allowed to. You see this. We couldn't or weren't allowed to open the presents until Diwali. Here what I did, I used couldn't and weren't both. If it is to report the permission has been refused, we can use both for general as well as particular. Right now, this is an important point to be noted. And what is that? If you use present perfect or past perfect or infinitive, then we must use be allowed to. Be allowed to, not can and could. Try to understand my point. If we use present perfect or past perfect or infinitive, then we must use be allowed to not can or could. Here you see this example, please. They have been allowed to keep the Mauryan coins they found in their garden. It is in present perfect. Another one you see, please. She is unlikely to be allowed to travel on that airlines again. Here I have used infinitive. So when you use present perfect, past perfect, or infinitive, we must use be allowed to. Right. When you offer something, or when you offer by making suggestions, you can use can or could. I repeat once again. When you offer something, or when you offer by making suggestions, then you can use can or could. You see here, can or could I help with your bags. Another example, you can or could borrow my car if you want. Right. In offers that are questions, we use shall or should. For example, shall or should I phone for a taxi for you? It's a question offer. Another one, shall or should is used for questions that has a request for confirmation or advice. You see this example, shall or should I put these books over here. Another example, who shall or should pass the message to, for confirmation and advice. If there is a question, you write down this, please. We use for offers would you like. We must not use will you like. You see this example. For offers, would you like me to get you somewhat? It's an offer. And for request, I would like, not I will like. I would like an orange juice. It's a request. So write down. Before winding up, you see this comparison. What will you have to eat or drink? What will you have to eat and drink? Another example, what would you like to eat and drink? Here I have used will because we have here. Here we used would because we have like here. So we must not use here what would you have. It's wrong. Whereas we must not use will here. What will you like? We have to use what would you like. Notice, and for permission and offers, what are the auxiliary verbs to be used? I have taught you in detail. So we shall meet in the next video. Until then, goodbye. Please share and subscribe. Until then, namaste.